Nobody should ever have to feel like a second-class citizen. But for many in the LGBT community, it's all they've ever known. Welcome to South Bay Sunday. I'm your host, Sandy, in the studio with award-winning documentary filmmaker Cassie Jaye, who is releasing her second feature-length film, The Right to Love, An American Family, in just a few days. I bet you are so excited about this.
Yes, finally.
Labor of love as well.
Yes, very much so. 3 years in the making. So.
3 years. Mm-hmm. So when you started this, did you have a time you wanted to be done with it, or did it just kind of take over?
We let it take its own life, however long it needs to take to have the story we want to tell. We let it take that. I didn't think it'd be 3 years, but it was.
But you know what? If you want to get it done right, sometimes you have to let yourself go through that.
Absolutely. And we were actually hoping to premiere it last year, and we just had so many things to put in place. So finally, the premiere is coming February 6th, 2012. So
yes, at the Castro Theatre, which is, like you said, legendary historic theater. What a great and a perfectly appropriate place for this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm amazed you're only 25 years old. How do you go to school too, or is this your baby? This is your full time?
I actually never went to college.
Maybe this is it for you. This is what you're designed to do.
I guess so. I hope so.
Well, I saw the trailer for this online, and I got chills watching it. You and your production team are so good, and the message is so good. So, I mean, for anyone who's listening, let's just talk about the actual movie. It's called The Right to Love, An American Family, and you actually kind of followed a family in Santa Rosa, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me how that whole journey started.
Okay, well, my first feature-length documentary called Daddy, I Do is about sex education in America. And while we were making that film, we were in post-production, and we were already thinking about our next film because we fell in love with filmmaking. And I actually work with my family. It's a production team of my family, my mom, my sister, my uncle, my dad. So It's a totally family production. And so when we were making Daddy, I Do, we, of course, were thinking about our next film, and we wanted to make it about marriage and just the general idea of the institution of marriage, the history about the institution of marriage, and also culturally now, where does it stand? Mm-hmm. And so when we started researching that, that's around the time that Prop 8 passed in California, which legalized same-sex marriage in California. And so we started researching that and just fell in love with this topic and wanting to share the insights into that debate and really get to the bottom of it. All the people involved in the film, making the film, none of us are gay or lesbian. We don't have any direct family members that are, but when we learn about these stories and these people that were together 20 plus years and couldn't get married and have the same rights that we do, that really hit a chord for us. So we found the Leffew Family in Santa Rosa, California. They had a YouTube channel called Gay Family Values. And at that time when we found them, they only had a couple videos up, and it was just home videos of Jay and Brian, a legally married gay couple, and their two adopted kids, Daniel and Selena. And they were just home videos of them singing Selena to sleep or having dinner at the table or going on a hike in the woods, whatever. And they're just... You can see the love and feel the love when you watch these videos. And we fell in love with them. Mm-hmm. So we started interviewing them, and they had their own home videos. We interviewed them for our film, and we made The Right to Love, An American Family around this family.
How did they feel when you talked to them about being involved in your documentary?
How did they feel?
Yeah, how did they feel when you first approached them about it? Were they nervous? Were they excited?
They were a little timid. I mean, we at that point when we started filming them, Daddy, I Do hadn't yet been released or premiered anywhere. So we showed them a copy of Daddy, I Do so they knew what kind of take we approach documentary filmmaking with, which is very much fly on the wall, just let the story tell itself. We don't have any narration in our films where we're telling the viewer what to think. We just share these stories.
Right.
And they really liked that. And so I think that made them trust us more to be honest to their story and how to tell it.
Right. And we should mention that Daddy, I Do won Best Documentary at the Cannes Film Festival in 2010. So that must have been an amazing accomplishment.
That was a game changer for us. That really, gave us the kind of confidence we needed to know that the way that we're making these films does touch people and impact the audiences. And that inspired us to continue with our second film, The Right to Love.
Is your whole family filmmakers, or are they just creatively kind of working on it together?
We all come from our own creative walk of life. So my mom was a photographer, and then when I decided to make Daddy, I Do, I gave her a video camera and told her how to, learn how to use it, basically. Right. So she started doing cinematography for Daddy I Do, and it's just the best. I mean, I've tried using other cinematographers and hiring other people, and no one can do it like Mom and I can with just telepathy, knowing what to shoot at the right time. So we work really well together. And then my sister had always had interest in producing films, but never really pursued it herself. So when we started making the documentary, she gladly came on board. And then my uncle does sound for the film industry, so it just kind of
it all came together.
Yeah.
In the film, it documents or kind of goes through their life, basically, right? Like just shows. I mean, you've got a lot of different footage in there. That was amazing, all the things you've covered.
Yeah, we really wanted to make it about the broader issue of marriage equality. So even though we use the Leffew family and a lot of their home video footage and our own footage with the Leffews, we also took a grander stance at where American policies are with regards to same-sex marriage and just really marriage equality and LGBT rights in general.
Was it hard for you to, I mean, because I noticed even in the trailer, the people who are protesting and stuff, is it hard to face that even in the making of this?
Yes. I mean, it was an emotional journey. And before we started The Right to Love, I really didn't know anything about the issue. I didn't have any firsthand experience with going to these rallies and marches. It was totally a blank slate to me. And when we started filming it just... I hope when you watch the film, you'll see what we experienced, because it was a life-changing, journey for us. And it really made us, before we started The Right to Love, you kind of think of it as the LGBT community's issue. You don't necessarily think of it as your issue if it's not directly affecting your rights. You think of it as someone else's issue. And when you follow the Leffew family and watch this film, it's everyone's issue. Equal rights affects everyone in America. And if there's a group of people who are not being treated equally, then none of us are equal. And we have to realize that if a minority is being mistreated, the majority has to stand up for them.
Absolutely. So 3 years in the making. When you were done, I mean, I don't want post-production, I guess it's called. I don't know, filmmaker talk.
Yeah.
But how did that feel to know, okay, I think we've got it. I think this is the right message?
Oh, relieving. But even when you finish the film, there's still so much work. I mean, we basically have a year or more of screenings and traveling ahead of us, and getting the word out there about this film. Our world premiere is going to be on February 6th at the Castro Theatre, and that will really be the first time that people know about this film.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about it to people, and
it's not real to them yet, though. They have to see it, and they have to know it's out.
Exactly.
Right. How do people get tickets for that show?
They can go to brownpapertickets.com, and that's where we're selling all our tickets, or just visit our website, r2lmovie.com, and that's R2, the number 2L, movie.com.
Okay, great. And you also have a website for your production team as well?
Yes, that's jaybirdproductions.com, and it's JAYEBIRD productions.com.
Okay.
So, and they can also learn about Daddy I Do on that website, too.
Oh, cool. So basically, this was something that you were interested in and you supported, but now it's become more of a cause for you, almost.
Yes. I mean, I never, say 5 years ago, would have expected myself to become a, gay rights activist. But there's just no way you can't stand up after you know all the issues and all the stories. I mean, it's almost like if you're not helping make it better, then you're making it worse. And now that I feel edified after making this film and knowing what the issues are and knowing how to, support this cause, it'd be wrong for me not to stand up and talk about it.
Now, has the LGBT community, I guess since it's not out yet, they can't have too much feedback, but are you getting a lot of support from them as well? Are they excited about it?
Yes, we are. And we actually have some great organizations that are going to be present at the Castro Theater for the world premiere event. So we have Marriage Equality USA, which is the local Bay Area LGBT group, and we have Get Equal, which is really helping us out for the event with volunteers, and HRC, Human Rights Campaign, is donating materials. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of camaraderie with the nonprofits and the groups wanting to support this film, and ultimately, the film wants to support them as well and get their cause out there.
But isn't this amazing just to know that one idea you had has turned into this? And it will keep growing. You know, it's only going to get more exposure and more support.
I hope so. I hope the film becomes a movement, because even though the film, we kind of call it a crash course on this whole debate. If you don't know anything about marriage equality or the issues, if you watch this film, you'll know everything. But it's still a course 101 where it needs to go beyond that. It has to be a film that inspires action. And, you know, before I started the film The Right to Love, I was supportive of marriage equality in the voting booth, but I wasn't necessarily vocal about it. I wasn't going to marches or holding up signs or telling my friends that I was supportive of marriage equality. And I hope this film speaks to those who are on the fence or silent about the issue and inspires them to speak up.
And are you ready for criticism? Because the people who are against this issue are very vocal, and it's very hard to convince them otherwise.
Absolutely. You know, that's something that Chamber Productions is no stranger to with controversy. We had some screenings that, or theaters that actually banned Daddy I Do because of that film, which... that's a long story, but Google it and you'll see it. But you know, we're no stranger to controversy. And so with The Right to Love, we know that that will come. And if there are groups that want to protest the film or speak poorly about the film or anything, that's to be expected. My only hope is that those groups will watch it first, because it's one thing to attack it without seeing it and just hearing the buzz or looking at the website or something. But after you watch it, I can't see how those opposing groups can attack the film, because we just tell the story. Mm-hmm. We're not telling you what to think or what to do. We just share the story, and it's up to the viewer to make their own opinion.
Which is also very hard to do when you do have a strong opinion on it yourself and you are very supportive of it.
No, I agree. I mean, it's hard to not be, you know, plaster all over the place how I feel as a filmmaker. But I think the reason why I do want to be respectful to the groups or organization or people who are against marriage equality is because I actually come from that world. I grew up very evangelical Christian, fundamental, Bible believing, the whole 9 yards. Went to the Jesus camps, if you've ever seen that documentary. So I was that was my whole world. And Daddy I Do was actually kind of a coming out of that world for me, because I was a purity pledger, where you wear a purity ring and vow to not have sex until your wedding night. And so Daddy I Do in that whole process was examining that ideology of what I was taught, and is that really the best thing for kids to be taught. So
what made you shift in your head to even want to explore that?
Gosh, I think it was just becoming more worldly and learning different people's walks of life, and just kind of getting out of the bubble. Because for my whole childhood, I was always in the church at Sunday school or choir or youth group, Bible study, whatever. I didn't really have that much like outside,
it becomes
people.
Your identity too. If it's what you grew up with, it's all you know.
Right. I was very sheltered. And so I started questioning all of that when I moved out of my parents' house at 18 and I moved to Los Angeles by myself. I didn't know anyone in town, and I just started learning all these people's stories.
For filmmaking, did you move?
Yeah, I was actually I was a big theater geek in high school, so I moved to LA to see if acting in films would be my calling, and it was fun for a while. But then I felt like I wanted to tell my own stories, because all these films I was acting in weren't really the stories I wanted to tell. Actually, I did a lot of horror films. It died like
totally
7
opposite.
times. Yeah, so it wasn't the story that I wanted to tell.
Like doing zombie apocalypse. Like, nah, not
exactly. Oh yeah, party girl number 7. That's me. So it was around the time of the writer's strike in LA. It was 2008, and there was just no auditions, no work. I was bored out of my mind. I wanted to do something with all my energy, so we started Daddy I Do, and that was my kind of growing experience outside of the evangelical bubble, and so yeah, so Daddy I Do was a journey, and then The Right to Love is an extension.
But
of
what
that.
I love about it is it just organically happened. Once again, this is South Bay Sunday, and we've been speaking with Cassie Jaye. She is the award-winning documentary filmmaker. Her second film is about to be released. It's called The Right to Love: An American Family, and that's going to be premiering at the Castro Theatre in San Francisco on February 6th. And what are the websites in case anyone wants to learn about it or get tickets?
They can go to r2lmovie.com, and that's r2lmovie.com. And we're selling tickets on brownpapertickets.com, so you can purchase tickets for the Castro event. There is an 11:30 lunch mixer screening, a 4 p.m. student matinee screening where students get in free to the 4 p.m. screening with their student ID, and a 7:30 red carpet premiere. So come to the 7:30 screening and walk the red carpet, and we'll have everyone involved in the film there and an after party, and it'll be fun.
That is exciting. Well, congratulations, and I'm very excited about your film and wish it the best. And is there anything else you wanted to mention to anyone listening today about the film, or maybe your hopes for the future of the LGBT community and whatnot?
Yeah, just we're really just trying to get the film out there. So any group that wants to host a screening, we're open to church screenings, school screenings, nonprofits, anything. We're just trying to get this film out to every nook and cranny in America, and just spread the word and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and keep up with the film.
Well, best of luck to you. Thank you.